What do you call a magic owl? Houdini. What do you call the greatest escape artist of all time? Well, also Houdini. Harry Houdini was an astoundingly successful magician and escapologist. Sometimes he did blur the lines between crazy awesome and simply crazy. For instance, in 1913, he created the upside-down water torture cell. He'd lock up his ankles, tie himself up, immerse himself in water, upside down, and in full view of the audience. Time after time, Houdini escaped from impossible odds until he played his greatest trick of all time, and well, he died. He told a bodybuilder to punch him really hard in the stomach. I guess he couldn't escape the consequences of a ruptured appendix. While escapism might be entertaining on stage, in real life, running from our problems doesn't work forever. Benjamin Bonetti, a celebrity hypnotist, told the Huffington Post about the importance of getting away from things for short stretches of time. But a real issue arises when we embrace our fantasies instead of deal with an urgent reality. To fully understand escapism, we're going to first examine the lock to see its causes. Next, we'll try out some combinations and observe its effects. And finally, we will find that key and unlock its solutions. Harry Houdini's official cause of death was being punched repeatedly, his appendix rupturing, and refusing to seek immediate medical attention. The reason we choose problematic escapism levels a bit less violent. First, we engage in self-suppression. A video game designer named Jane McGonigal, not to be confused with Hogwarts and Mistress Professor McGonagall, reports that for those who play games, we collectively spend around 300 million minutes a day playing with little games like Angry Birds. She argues that these numbers don't make sense, and why some people are concerned gamers only want to escape reality, and why psychological studies links escapism to suicide, anxiety, eating disorders, alcoholism, and addiction. That's self-suppression, when we run away from our thoughts, emotions, and perceptions. It really is a shame Peter Pettigrew, who spent many years transformed into a rat to escape the threat of Voldemort, didn't listen to Miss McGonagall. People often try to escape the problem by throwing it at someone else. We go to a therapist to scream, cry, and seek advice. We go to family and friends to complain. And sometimes we even go to psychics. Gita Saridaria, founder and president of the TCG Foundation, explains that people go to psychics because we're looking for a quick fix to a problem we're having. We're afraid to face the issue head on. We're afraid of the unknown. We are afraid if facing the issue head on will be advantageous in our lives. So we escape by going to different distractions or trying to throw the burden at someone else, like those with the worldly powers, who we believe can handle them. However, if you keep your feelings down and surround yourselves with escapist distractions, you're setting yourself up for an emotional explosion. This is illustrated by psychologist and life coach Kathy Hadley. She walked around a room and held up a glass of water and asked, "How much does this weigh?" She then continued to say, "The weight doesn't matter. If you hold it for a couple minutes, it's not a big deal. If you hold it for an hour, your arm will start to ache. And if you hold it for an entire day, your arm will be paralyzed with pain." The fact is, the weight doesn't matter. The longer you hold it, the heavier it gets. This can be compared to emotional trauma. The more we suppress our feelings, the more the feelings will grow. Imagine blowing into a balloon. The air represents our feelings and emotions, while the balloon represents our effort to contain them. When there's too much emotional power for this balloon to contain, it pops, letting all the gathered feelings and emotions out at once. That's why we engage in self-suppression, whether through video games, movies, gardening, competitive chess, or pretending to be elves in Dungeons and Dragons. We go to these things to pretend that an inevitable burst of the balloon isn't coming. But even if we play these games, that balloon will eventually go boom. Harry Houdini's death is now used as a cautionary tale about the dangers of staying in character when life is on the line. The consequences of suppressing our feelings are no less dangerous. First, escapism can lead to lack of ambition. Dr. Alex Page argues when we engage in escapist behaviors, we are eroding our ability to form social connections to other humans. This becomes a major detriment to meeting new people, forming friendships, and remaining in lasting relationships. Vice, the magazine, did an expose on gaming addicts, which explored the darker side of escapism in gaming. Journalist Cecilia D'Anastasio explored many gaming addicts who refused to engage in reality. She reported that these gaming addictions were terribly difficult to overcome, and in some cases, mere withdrawal symptoms, similar to those of cocaine, sleepiness, hallucination, and anxiety. Escapism isn't just theoretical for me. I have first-hand experience. See, I started playing World of Warcraft in 3rd grade. Before I started playing, I would have to go to the corner of the playground every day and let the other kids punch me, kick me, throw rocks at me, and hurt me constantly. I would go home, steal my mom's makeup, cover up bruises, and go back the next day. I did this because they threatened to bully my sister. Eventually, when I got so fed up with being hurt, I stopped going to that corner of the playground. That's when my sister started getting bullied. I felt so guilty for causing my sister to suffer that I went to World of Warcraft to hide from that guilt. It wasn't until I learned what's called the Valve method that I could stop self-suppressing, make friends, and find healthier ways to cope. So, what is the Valve method, you might ask? Well, unlike one of Houdini's acts, it's no trick. It's as simple and complex as a Chinese finger trap. You gotta find a trusted friend and give them a metaphorical valve. This valve job is to release that emotional power from your balloon at a healthy rate. You have to share your real issues with them. Here's a 3-step process. First, identify where you're escaping from. Celestine Chuha, life coach and founder of the Personal Excellence, explains that pain in life is inevitable, and there is no running from it. Next, you gotta aim for smaller doses of escapism. Instead of playing 7 to 8 hours of World of Warcraft a day, play for 6 or 5 or 4 or 3, preferably 2 or 1. And finally comes the last yet hardest step. Escape to the world you are already in. When you feel that urge to escape, instead of binge-watching Game of Thrones for the 4th time, go to a seminar in web design, research engineering, go on Khan Academy. Make a to-do list of things that you have always wanted to do, but were too busy with games and movies to try. And when you feel that urge to escape, look at this to-do list. The real world would not be as thrilling and exciting as Skyrim, but it can be just as satisfying. This isn't self-suppression. It's self-expansion. Escaping in a far healthier and productive way with the help of a loved one holding your valve, just in case. Today, we've put on a show about escapism. A look at its causes, effects, and solutions. Everyone hides dark secrets at some point in their life. But what you have to remember is there is no running from yourself, from your past, and from your problems. They will find a way to catch up to you. So release that emotional power from your balloon at a healthy rate. And as Houdini once said, what the eyes see and the ears hear, the mind believes. You've all seen me and heard me, so believe in what I have said today.